Alright. Hello everyone and welcome back to another Combo League podcast. I am your host, Lima. Alongside me is a co-host filling in for Avengers, Prophet.
What's up? What's up?
Alright, so playoffs finally here. This week we're going to talk about the recap from 17, but we only have one game to recap. That was our game of the week, and we decided to just do that one game because that was the only game that really had playoff implications. So we'll get into that right now, and then after that we'll talk about what the what the playoff seeding looks like, who made it for each conference, and then we'll get into the schedule for the wildcard weekend.
All right. As we go into the game versus the Packers and the Lions, we do see that the Lions came up on top 26-14, and we actually do see a fairly even game until you look down at the turnover battle. Lions won that by a pretty big margin.
Yeah, looking at the yards, this was like pretty much all defense, and then the 5 turnovers obviously probably put the Packers under, but as you could see, first half was just all dominated by the Lions, and Packers actually tried to make a comeback, started in the third quarter, but then couldn't get anything going in the fourth. So,
when we go into the passing stats, we do see that passing was pretty bad. We see Matthew Stafford with 112 yards and an interception, sacked 5 times. And then we see Aaron Rodgers, surprisingly, with only 95 yards, 5 interceptions, and sacked 4 times. Both QBs having pretty low passer ratings.
yeah, that's like, we've seen Aaron Rodgers throw a couple picks, but I mean, he was still able to at least get something going in the passing game. This was just not a good performance at all.
Not one single bit, man. Oh, wow. Honestly, I do gotta say, despite the bad performance, it's still, like, for me, it's at least shocking that he would still play that bad, because I played against the Packers this year myself, maybe not that exact user, but even Aaron Rodgers throwing off balance across his body, he was still extremely accurate.
Yeah, so that means that Lions has got to be putting his guys in the right spots, and the Packers guy had to be making a lot of bad reads in that one.
That's like the only true answer for that one so far.
Alright, moving into rushing. Nobody really had a big game on the ground. Ty Montgomery 54 yards and a touchdown with a 3 average. That would 3 times on the ground would knock you that first. So I'd be aiming for at least 3.5. But and then Abdullah from the Lions, 19 attempts for 51 yards and an even lower 2.7 average. So really, Aaron Rodgers had the long gain, but other than that, no one really able to get it going.
Not really, but we do still see 2 other touchdowns contributed by Bilal Powell and Jamal Williams. When we go into the receiving game, this is just pretty much the same as in the rushing game. We see nobody pretty big contributing big into the receiving game.
Yeah.
I mean, 2 leading receivers. We see Golden Tate with 2 receptions for 43 yards, so he did get some pretty deep passes, as well as Jordy Nelson with 1 reception for 37 yards. But otherwise, it's
yeah, I mean, that, like we said in the beginning, this was all a defensive game. There was nothing big passing wise, nothing big running wise, and like the leading receiver only had 2 receptions. No one had more than 2 receptions, so that's pretty crazy. Yeah. All right, so that means that going into defense must be good to see. Hopefully, there's a lot of big games here.
There's probably a pretty big amount of sacks from what we saw just from reading the quarterback stats. And when we look at the top of the list for sacks itself, we see Kerry Hyder Jr. with 3.5, leading all pass rushers. And then we just see a long row of 1 sack combinations. And Kenny Clark, Nick Perry, Clay Matthews, Dylan Cole, and Christian Ringo, all from the Packers. And then we see the last Lion with a 1/2 sack and Ezekiel Ansah.
Yeah, so a big game for Kerry Hyder Jr. from the Lions, but other than that, just kind of average. And then interceptions, there were a lot of interceptions thrown, so, and nobody had two, everyone had only one. We do see a couple big interception return yards, so those are probably for a couple touchdowns, especially since the Lions only had one touchdown on offense, so he's obviously had to have a couple on defense.
Yeah, that is exactly what happened. 2 interception touchdowns by Eddie Jackson and Quentin Dunbar. Which means if he only had one offensive touchdown,
he probably kicked a few field goals.
Yeah, he did. 2 field goals.
Let's see here. An interception by Quentin Dunbar, one by Eddie Jackson, one by Morgan Burnett from the Packers, one by Nevin Lawson, one by Tahir Whitehead, and the last by Paul Warlow. And let's see if there were any forced fumbles here. One forced fumble, but was there a recovery? No, it looks like the Lions recovered that one. And then the 2 touchdowns we already talked about.
Yeah.
Was there a kick or punt return? No.
Looked like a pretty good defensive battle, as we said at the beginning, and sorry to the Packers for not cutting it in to the playoffs, but good luck to you for next season. Good luck to the Lions in the playoffs.
Yeah, and
big game.
This game was, we knew it was going to be interesting coming in, because not only are they division rivals, but this was actually their first time playing because they're both new users. And the Packers' first 3 games in, he pretty much seemed to dominate everyone. So coming into this, and I mean showing he's not perfect, losing to the Lions, it still was a close game, even though he lost by a couple scores. This was a really good defensive battle, and I'm sure we all look forward to seeing them play twice next season. Alright, so with that, we know who won Week 17. So let's go check out the standings, and we'll see who was able to qualify for the playoffs in each conference. And we'll start here with the AFC, sorry. And then not any surprises here, really. I mean, we kind of knew this was how it was going to end up. You see Broncos, your boy, with the number 1 spot. Browns, Ungwe with the number 2 spot, so they both locked up the first round bye. And Chiefs, even with the better record, obviously he didn't win a division, so he will be the number 5 spot. And Ravens, same record. He didn't win the division either, so he'll be the 6th. And it looks like Titans, BG Evadon, or sorry, I'm used to BGB and Titans. Titans Avengers will be the 3 seed, and then Bills BG Evadon will be the 4 seed.
And you see, like, the only team that really could have had a chance to make the playoffs from the AFC side would have been the Patriots if the Bills had lost, but Bills cut it in to get that win. And
yeah, he beat the Patriots Week 16, and then doing that, he beat him twice in the division, so he was able to get the tiebreaker against him. And I think actually Bills was undefeated in the division. Yep, 6 division wins and 0 division losses.
Yep. And then when we go into the NFC side, we pretty much see a picture that was pretty much the same throughout almost the entire year as well. Who was at the top of the list? We see Debo at number 1 at the 1 seed, and the MP Tiger Pride at the 2 seed. And then we see the Lions win the division in that key game against the Packers, and Cowboys have the division. And then the 2 wild card teams being from the NFC South and the NFC East, the Buccaneers and the Giants.
Yeah, and Giants, or NFC, same with the AFC. There's really only one team on the outside who could have got in Week 17. That would have been the Packers, but he did lose his game to the Lions, and the Giants won their game. So in order for the Packers to have made it, he either would have had to have the Giants win their game, or he would have had to beat the Lions to win the division.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's good teams on both sides here. It's gonna, honestly, I don't think there's a clear winner of the Super Bowl as of right now. I think that obviously both sides are going to have to show that they have the talent to make it, because I can see a winner coming from both the NFC and the AFC, honestly.
I mean, I can see that too, but we still have, there may not be a clear winner, but we still have our favorite to win the Super Bowl, and I think you would agree with me with the most likely chances to do so would be your boy with the Broncos team and that no-fly zone secondary. Crazy defense.
Yeah, exactly. But as you see, he does have the one loss. It did come week 1. People were still getting used to Madden, but having that one loss does show that everyone is beatable. So it could happen. But I mean, yeah. So let's talk about who we think is gonna take each conference. Just like, who do you think is gonna come out of each conference here?
Well, you know, I'll let you know this. From the team that I think from the AFC side, most likely is obviously, like I said, for Super Bowl winner would be your boy. Now, if it weren't to be your boy, though, I have 2 teams that I actually think that could have the actually pretty equal odds into winning, but they would not meet with each other until the conference championship. If that were to do so. And that would be the Chiefs and the Ravens, and I do think that the Ravens would have the upper hand on the Chiefs because I've seen how the Ravens has played, and he does have a pretty good playing style, and Keon has a good defense, but from offensive side, I mean, I still think the Ravens would have the upper hand, but favorite would be the Broncos still, if not them. Secondary would be the Ravens. Who do you got?
I'm in agreement with you a little bit. I do think the Broncos are going to come out of the AFC. But if there were to be a second, I do think it would be the Chiefs. I don't think anybody else would be able to compete with him. I think the team giving the Broncos the the team competing with the Broncos the most for coming out of the AFC would be the Chiefs, in my opinion. But I do think the Broncos are going to take it from the AFC. All right, and then so what do you think about the NFC?
Oh man, it's a hard one to say for me, especially since, you know, I got my competitive juices in and I'm on the NFC side and I did make the playoffs. But if it were to be completely honest, the favorite, the biggest chance in my opinion would honestly be the Falcons. Debo, he picked it up towards the end of the year and found his rhythm. But I still think that the Falcons has the upper hand on him simply because he has a firepower offense and the second best defense when it comes to points allowed. I thought he might be first in points allowed. No, he's still second. By 2 points, he's behind your boy in points allowed. So, I mean, for me, the Falcons, if they were to be the most likely, but if not, the Falcons, it's actually kind of tough to say. I think I'll just leave it at that, but I'll let you say who you would think would win, who's most likely to win, and if not them, then
yeah, the NFC is definitely tougher. I mean, we do, like we said, your boy is the clear favorite coming out of the AFC, but that doesn't mean there's still not talent there. We do have a couple talented teams there, but with the NFC, it's like there's more competition. So not necessarily there's more talent, but there's just more competition between each other. And
more equally based games.
Yeah. I think that I agree with you. I think the Falcons are going to represent the NFC, but there's a lot of really any team in the NFC can beat out the Falcons, I think. But I do think the Falcons are the clear favorite. If I had to pick one team to be the runner-up or have the best chances at beating the Falcons, I'm going to go ahead and say the Lions.
Lions?
Yeah, I do think it'd be the Lions. We did get a couple comments here.
So, I mean, out of curiosity, why do you give the Lions the second hand? He's fairly new and we don't know exactly how he does play.
Yeah, sorry about that. Alright, so we did get a comment here. on the video. Debo says he thinks that Blake Deshaun is going to the Super Bowl. So he said that Blake Deshaun, the Bucks, will represent the NFC in the Super Bowl.
Like you said, the NFC is, I think, from just like you said, the NFC is definitely, I think, more competition because the talent seems to be fairly equal all throughout in the playoffs. And the AFC, they have great talented teams too, just like you said. But I just think like the NFC is just gonna be one crazy battle. It's gonna be a lot of tight games in the NFC.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of that, let's go into the schedule for the wild card weekend and see who plays who here. Playoff schedule. All right. So as you can see here, the first game is the Chiefs against the Titans, Keon against Avengers, Giants versus Cowboys, it's Defucha against Prophet, Ravens versus Bills, Reaper versus BG Evadon, and Bucks versus Lions, Blake Deshaun versus Arthorpe. Alright, so let's start off here with the Chiefs versus the Titans. We decided not to pick a game of the week here, so we're going to just go into each game and just discuss who we think is going to win each game. Alright, so who do you got, Chiefs versus Titans?
Man, I've got the Chiefs winning. I do have the Chiefs winning. I think that his defense is pretty stout, and he does have the best passing defense in the game, and Avengers has the best passing offense. So, I do still think that the defensive side for the upper on Avengers passing offense, and then I do think that Keon's offense could get it going against Avengers defense, even though Avengers still has a pretty good defense as well. But I do give the upper hand to Keon, and I am going to throw not exact points, but by how many points. I think that it will give a little bit of something and possibly get some juices flowing and motivate you. Prove me wrong or prove you wrong, and I think it'll make it more competitive. So I do have the Chiefs winning by 14 points against Avengers.
Alright, so I think I agree with you on some points here. I do think the Chiefs are going to win this game. You said, like we said, Chiefs has the #1 passing defense. He also has a pretty good run defense. And Titans, Avengers, he has a pretty good pass offense and a decent run offense. I think the key here for each team to win, I think it's going to be the Titans offense versus the Chiefs defense. That's what we're all going to come here to watch. Whoever wins in that battle, I think, is winning this game. So, but I do think the Chiefs are going to win in that. He's got a really good pass defense against a really good pass offense, but I do see the defense coming out on top in this one. Score-wise, I don't know the exact score, but I think it's going to be a pretty close game. I think probably within like 8 points.
Alright. I'll let you talk about the second game because that's my game, and I don't really want to put my point of view into that because I think that's unfair to my opponent.
Yeah, alright.
Because everybody still has their personal opinion, you know.
Yeah, so a division matchup here. So this would be the third time they face each other. I think Cowboys won all both in the regular season. And it is in Dallas. I mean, not that that hasn't really anything to do with it in Madden. It might have a little advantage in the playoffs, but I do think that the Cowboys are going to come on top on this one. But he does have Zeke hurt, so it'll be interesting to see what he can get going in the running game. But I do see the Cowboys winning this one by a couple scores.
Alright. And then we have the Ravens versus the Bills. Reaper Shed versus BG Evadon. Who do you got winning, man?
This is gonna be a really close game, honestly. I think this could go either way. But I do see the Bills coming out on top of this one just because the way his running game is going right now, it really seems like nobody has been able to stop it the last couple weeks. He's really gotten it going. God, especially with Shady McCoy, he's so hard. Shady McCoy with the juking and the spinning that is like in Madden 18 a lot more popular than it was in 17. I just really see the Bills being able to win this game. I don't think that the Ravens are going to be able to shut down the run.
Alright, I mean, I actually have to go opposite with you in this game, man. I have the Ravens coming up on top. I do agree with you that I do not think the Ravens will be able to shut down the Bills' rushing game like that. But I do think they has a defense capable enough of getting the stop at the right time. And Reaper Shed's offense, from what I've seen, he does play a pretty disciplined offense, and he's very, very good at reading his opponent's defense and making safe reads. If I remember correctly, he doesn't turn the ball over that much. So that difference, I think the Ravens will win it. But like you said, too, it's going to be a very, very close game. So I do not see this game being a blowout. I don't see more than a score difference max.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's going to be a close game. I do think it's going to be like a lot of offense. Whoever's offense scores the most points. Obviously, whoever scores the most points. But I'm saying whoever plays the best on offense would win this game.
Actually, I think whoever plays the best on defense, because that one drive is going to be the one that's going to.
So almost whoever has the ball last, in my opinion. But
Pretty much. Yep.
All right, so next game here, Bucks versus Lions. This one, I really can see this game going either way. We haven't seen much of Arthorpe because he is new, but what we have seen of him, he's pretty good. He was able to shut down the Packers after the Packers had like blown almost everyone out that he had played so far. So this is going to be a good game either way, but I do think that Arthorpe is going to come out on top of this one. Like we said, we haven't seen much on him, but with what we have seen, I'm going to go with him on this one.
See, this one is hard for me to call as well, because like I haven't seen how Arthorpe has played. The only thing I've seen is the game against the Packers, and I didn't even watch that game. We just saw that statistically, and even his offense couldn't get going against the Packers, and his defense is the one that got the upper hand, possibly by bad reads by the Packers. Not completely sure about this one, man, because I do know that Tampa does have a pretty good offense.
Yeah,
it is pretty hard to put together, man, on this one. This one's gonna be game 2, I feel. But for me, for some reason, it's not. I honestly don't know who's gonna win. I can't truly predict it, but by my gut feeling does say Tampa is gonna come up on top. Maybe by a miracle play or something, but I don't know. My gut feeling is just saying Tampa.
Alright, so there you have it. We were against each other on 2 of these games and agreed on 1. So like it's just telling you, playoffs, anything can happen here. Anybody can win any one of these games, but it will be very interesting to watch these games be played. I can't wait to see these games. I really can't see what's gonna. I can't wait to see what's gonna happen all of postseason.
Yeah, this postseason is going to be extremely, extremely competitive, and honestly, full blown out. Just like we've been in Combo League since 17, and we went through a couple seasons in 17, and from all the playoffs, I do gotta say I'm looking forward to this one, because it does look like it's fairly evenly matched throughout the entire playoffs.
Yeah. Alright, so there you have it. That's what we think is going to happen here. Coming up in the next one, I think we are going to do a yearly awards podcast, and then we'll obviously do the recap of Wildcard and then do our division predictions and all that. I'm not sure if it'll be the same podcast or a separate one yet. But I do want to say thank you to Prophet for filling in for Avengers when he couldn't be here. It's great to have a third guy that can come and sub in when we need help or anything like that. So thank you for being on this one.
No problem, man. I enjoy doing this whenever you guys need me to, and it's always a pleasure to do it with you guys.
Alright, so that wraps up this podcast, and we'll see you next time.